Hey y'all, welcome back to another video. My name is Erica and this is Where Strong Love Grows. If you have not already, please consider subscribing. Here I share gardening and homemaking and homesteading. Right now our homestead is just a garden, but we're working to change that one step at a time. If you enjoy cook with me's or get it all done or gardening tours, consider subscribing. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to like it, leave me a comment down below and let me know how your garden's going or what you've been up to recently. So what I am doing right now, I am shredding up a bunch of zucchini. This is my favorite way to preserve my zucchinis, not shredded, but I like to go ahead and just make the food with it. I actually had a smaller zucchini harvest than normal this year. I think it was just, we got in our zucchinis and squash late in the season, and then we didn't get as much produce off the plants before the squash bugs took them. So this is basically, I think, all the preserving of zucchini that I'm going to do this year, which is unfortunate, but it's fine. But what I like to do is I like to bake up breads and then stick those in the freezer so that I have something I can just grab out of the freezer. On more productive years, where I get more produce out of my plants, I will go ahead and save up shredded zucchini, or zoodles, or blended zucchini, depending on the quality of my zucchini, and just bag that up in Ziploc bags and throw it in the freezer. But this year, like I said, I didn't have as much zucchini as I have in past years, so I'm just going to make zucchini bread, and some baked oatmeals and such. My plants are gone, and in my refrigerator I have about 6 to 8 zucchinis sitting in there, and those will be gone by the end of the week. So this is the only preserving of zucchini I did this year, but every year's different, so I'll share a little more. So the first thing I did on this specific day was I just got out all of the zucchini in my refrigerator on this day, and I just shredded it up. I ran it through my shredder, and let me tell you, if I had hand shredded this, I do have a box shredder, like the thing that you sit on a cutting board. If I had shredded all of the zucchini with that thing, my hand would be so tired. And so I really love having this this KitchenAid shredder attachment. And if your zucchinis are newer, it works seamlessly. You can just run them straight through because the skins are still firm. You can just run them straight through one after the other nonstop. It works perfectly. Some of these zucchinis had been sitting in my refrigerator for a little bit, so you're going to see the skins aren't going through super well. And so I have to keep pulling out the grating insert to pull out the skins that are just wrapping around that and not letting other zucchini come through to get shredded. So that is a pain in the butt. But I would be having the same issue if I was using a box grater. So you just work around it. It probably took me, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes, I think, to shred all of the zucchini. And this is like a 32 cup mixing bowl. So I just filled that thing up with shredded zucchini. Like I said, in other years where I've had more zucchini, I do a little more preserving, but basically on this day I used up everything I have in my refrigerator, and then I only have a little bit left at this point, and I will have no zucchini coming in the future. So this is the only preserving that I will be doing. The first thing I am going to make is zucchini bread. And I like to make this in muffins just so that I like to bake all the muffins, put them into one of those aluminum foil cake pans, and then just cover them, and then I'll open it up and take out, one whenever we need it. These don't generally last a really long time in our house just because everybody in my family really likes muffins. I'll do this with banana bread too. I'll make up, like 4 or 5 dozen banana muffins and then throw them in the freezer, and they're gone within a few months. But I have left zucchini bread and banana bread both in my refrigerator, not my refrigerator, my freezer for a year, and it's still fine. It doesn't generally make it that long, but I have had, where something's fallen down into some place that it wasn't, intended to be, and you're digging, it's like the end of spring, and you're like digging through your freezer trying to figure out what you have so you can get it used up, and you find a package of zucchini bread. I've done that, and it's still fine. So these will last a while. They probably won't last much longer than a year. I wouldn't say, like don't make up this much zucchini bread and freeze it and expect it to last 2 years, because it probably won't taste great after 2 years unless you like vacuum seal it somehow, which I don't know how vacuum sealing bread would go. That's not something I've ever done. But you would want to keep the frost off of it a little better. If I'm making loaves, I will go ahead and throw those into Ziploc bags and kind of seal those up a little bit tighter. And that will last longer than like storing my muffins in an aluminum tin. But I don't know that it would last much longer. So take that into consideration if you are planning on preserving enough zucchini for, like 2 years, which I know is a lot of like homesteader plans, just in case you have 1 year that your harvest doesn't work well, if that makes sense. A lot of homesteaders will plan to put back 2 years. We can't do that right now. We only have 1 deep freeze. We used to have 2 deep freezes, and I could preserve a lot more, but since we moved into this house, we don't have anywhere to put another deep freeze. My deep freeze is currently sitting in my living room, which we're working to fix that, but one step at a time. We can only do so much right this second. So anyways, we've got a long to-do list. But anyways, if I was trying to preserve zucchini for more than, just a year, I would probably just, make a batch of zucchini bread, but also just save the shredded zucchini in Ziploc bags and freeze it. Then you can pull out your zucchini and whip up a batch of zucchini bread at any point in time during the year. And, if you want to make a double batch and throw some in the freezer so you don't have to make zucchini bread as frequently, that's a great idea. So the first thing I make is zucchini muffins. And I'll go ahead and give you the recipe. What I do is I usually make my banana bread and then add zucchini on this specific day. I don't have any banana bread, or not banana bread. I don't have any bananas, so I'm just making zucchini bread. So my zucchini bread is I just literally take my banana bread recipe and modify it slightly to accommodate for a zucchini. So my zucchini bread recipe is 3 cups of sugar, 4 cups of zucchini, 4 eggs, 1 cup of oil, a half a teaspoon of cinnamon, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, half a cup of nuts, which is optional, 2 tablespoons of baking soda, and then it usually takes about 3 to 3.5 cups of flour. I do not you know, like drain out all of the liquid out of my zucchini. So I just add as much flour as it needs to look right. I do use, so I put the zucchini into a measuring cup, and whenever I'm measuring it, I kind of pack it into the measuring cup and it squishes out some water, but it's not as good as like if you were to put your zucchini into a tea towel and squish all of the water out. I don't have time for that, and my banana bread recipe actually calls for water, so I don't add any water. I just add the zucchini and add enough flour until it looks correct, and I have never had an issue. So I will also tell you, you can see whenever I'm making it, I do not separate my dries and my wets. I don't have time for that. And honestly, there have been a few times where I find that it does make a difference, but most of the time, especially on something like this, it doesn't matter. So don't waste your time doing it. Just add it all into a bowl, mix it really well, put it in some muffin tins. I ended up making, I think, 3.5 dozen muffins and then 2 mini loaves. This recipe would make 4 dozen muffins. I just didn't have enough muffin pans for that. So anyways, that is that recipe. I feel like a lot of people just have their own zucchini bread recipe, but if you don't, give this one a try. It's really simple and easy, and it tastes delicious. My kids love it. As always, all of my recipes are linked down in the description. So if you want to go check them out, they are there. Also, I will go ahead and link some of the equipment that I'm using. Like I said, this is the KitchenAid, and then I have a whole bunch of KitchenAid attachments. I know you can get cheaper stand mixers, and that's all well and good, but all of the attachments that I have for this KitchenAid make it worth it. Also, just in case you are curious, I am using a 1/4 cup measure to put my batter into my muffin tins. I find that this is just about perfect for a muffin. So that is, just in case you're curious, that's what I'm using. And then like I said, I made 2 mini loaves. I made 3.5 dozen muffins and then 2 mini loaves. I do have regular size loaves, but I'm getting ready to make another zucchini bread recipe. It's a savory zucchini bread, and I want to use the large loaf pans for that. So I did not use them. I could have just made one large loaf pan, but I didn't want to. Like I said, this is my favorite way to preserve zucchini, just because then I can just pull a muffin out of the freezer and eat it. But it is not the only way that I preserve zucchini. However, it is the only way I will be preserving zucchini this year. So this is the only zucchini preservation video I will be sharing this year. But hopefully in future years, we will get a little bit of a better zucchini harvest. Hopefully, you know, we'll be able to get our garden in on time, and I think that will make a difference. So yeah, this is your mid-video reminder asking you to subscribe if you have not already. I can see that more than 50% of my viewers are not subscribed. So if you are hanging around and watching these videos, you might consider subscribing. It would really help me out. And don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, and leave me a comment down below. Let me know how your garden's going or what you've been up to recently. The next recipe that I'm going to make is a savory, cheesy zucchini bread. I really like to keep this on hand. It is delicious if you like throw it in a pan with a little bit of butter and kind of toast it. In doing that, it gets that nice crispy edge to it. And then I like to cut a big fat slice of tomato and then fry a over easy egg put it on top. Oh my gosh, it is so delicious. I'm salivating just thinking about it. This bread is also extremely moist. And it doesn't keep on the counter like normal bread. You will have to put it in the refrigerator Otherwise it molds really easy. But it does keep in the freezer very nicely. So what is included in this recipe? I put in 4 cups of zucchini, 1 medium yellow onion, and I finely diced that. And then 6 large eggs, 2 cups of sour cream. I just used a whole 16-ounce container of sour cream. And then half a cup of melted butter. I usually like melt it about halfway and then let it sit on the counter for a couple of minutes, and that's the last thing that I add. And then 2 cups of shredded cheddar cheese. You can use other cheeses. I have made this with like a pepper jack cheese, but cheddar cheese, and if you can get like a sharp cheddar cheese that's shredded, that would be best. That has the most flavor. So that is how much cheddar cheese. That's my cheese recommendation. 2 cups of sharp cheddar cheese. If you want to use a different cheese, that's fine, but cheddar is the best. And then 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of salt, and then I usually dice up a jalapeno and include that. And then you are going to add 4 cups of flour. Like I said in my previous recipe, I do not separate my dries and my wets. I'm too lazy for that. Judge me if you want. I don't care. But anyways, you're going to give that a good mix, and then into some loaf pans it will go. This makes like 3 large loaves of this zucchini bread. This, like I said, this pairs really well with some eggs. And just by putting 1 jalapeno in it, you just kind of get that jalapeno flavor, but it's not really spicy. I've literally made this with like 4 or 5 jalapenos, but my kids are eating it, so you know, I probably shouldn't like torture them with spicy food. so 1 it is, just enough to get the flavor in there. But yeah. That recipe will also be linked down below. If you cannot tell, I am momming the entire time that I am trying to make these recipes. I keep having to like check on my kids, make sure they're not getting into stuff they're not supposed to, or to make sure they are where I can see them. Occasionally one starts crying and you have to like make sure there's no like blood or anything. But we try to get our kids outside as much as possible. Being outside is so great for kids. And I still have stuff I need to do. I have a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old. So for the most part, they do okay outside by themselves. We do have a shop on our property, and you can't see it because it's like right between the sliding glass doors and this window. But occasionally they'll try to go out behind that, which isn't a huge deal, but I would prefer to be able to see them. So then I have to go outside and be like, hey, you have to stay where I can see you. And yeah, it is the beginning of August, and we are right at 450 hours. And honestly, that's probably a little bit short. It's probably not quite accurate. I'm sure we've missed some hours here or there, or I've missed a day. You know, I try to log every day, but sometimes I don't get it logged, especially during the weekdays. I don't always get it logged during the weekdays. But I try to log every day. But you know, it's hard to know exactly, you know, if they're not with you, how many hours they spend outside. I know our babysitter does a very good job of getting the kids outside, which is nice. But anyways, that is where we are on that. I just thought I would explain why I keep going over to the sliding glass door or looking out the window. You can see me like peeking out the window, trying to see the kids. And my husband is around, and he tries to keep an eye on the kids as well. We just try to tag team it and make sure that everyone's safe, but the adults can still get some stuff done. I am just going to, I think I said this earlier, I'm just going to divide this batter into 3 large loaf pans, and I spray those down before I put it in. And yeah, I just divide it between the three large loaf pans. I bake all of this at 350 degrees. The zucchini muffins and the zucchini bread, just 350 degrees until it looks done. I don't know how long it actually takes. You just want to make sure it's not jiggly in the middle. That's I don't know. I don't know how long I actually cooked them. I'm sorry. I don't. If you've been around for any amount of time, I don't actually have recipes for stuff. I just like make food and then tell you what I did. Like that's how my baking works. I don't like recipes. I don't like people telling me what I can and can't do. But anyways, that is that. I hope you enjoyed my facial expression as I squirted zucchini juice all over my counter. Luckily, my flour is elevated, so none got in there. Otherwise, a whole bunch of zucchini juice probably would have gotten in my flour, and it's not. It's because it doesn't have a lid. So what we are going to make next is baked peach zucchini oatmeal. My basic baked oatmeal recipe is 1 cup of fruit, 2 eggs, 1 cup of oatmeal, 1/4 cup of brown sugar, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. I also frequently like to add nuts to this. I think it just, one, it adds a little extra protein and other good healthy stuff, so I like to add nuts to it pretty frequently. Today I am not. And I am also throwing in a cup of zucchini into the mix as well. And yeah, it is, I'm going to freeze these. I'm making a quadruple batch, and I'm going to freeze these in they're not actually 9 by 13 pans. They're like 8 by 11 or something stupid, because apparently the pans that you buy at Sam's Club can't be 9x13. It's fine. Anyways, so I'm going to put them in 9x13, not 9x13, these aluminum foil pans. And yes, it's not super, like healthy for the environment that I use these aluminum pans. I don't cook in them every day. That's not what I used to cook every day. If I had a stack of Pyrex baking dishes, like Becky from Acre Homestead, she just keeps a large quantity of Pyrex baking dishes in her cabinet, and then she makes freezer meals in those. If I had that, I would totally use those. But one, I don't have the space to store Pyrex baking dishes in that quantity. And two, this works fine. And like I said, I'm not cooking in them every day. And sometimes it's just nice to not do dishes. I said what I said. But anyways, I just cover them in, aluminum foil. I do put down a layer of parchment paper to kind of keep the frost off of it so it doesn't get frostbite. That's not the word. Freezer burn. So it doesn't get freezer burnt, and then I just throw those directly into the freezer. And then you take them out and bake them, and they'll bake up just like they would if you were to bake them immediately after mixing it's not really a batter, making the mixture. I don't know. And then I label them and throw them into the freezer. And that is it on that one. Recipe to this one also linked below, in case I didn't say that yet. And in case you missed it the first 2 times that I said it, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and leave me a comment down below and let me know how your garden's going and what you've been up to recently. On to the next thing. If you want some unsolicited peach advice, my opinion on peaches is yellow freestone or semi-freestone peaches are definitely the way to go. These generally are later in the season, like right now. And they are my favorite. That is my opinion. Obviously there are different varieties that have different flavors and blah, blah, blah. But in general, you can't really go wrong with a freestone yellow peach. These are actually semi-freestone because this is obviously I'm recording this at a different time that I'm doing the audio. So these are semi-freestone yellow peaches. I think they're either July Prince or Ruby Prince. I can't remember specifically. I bought a bunch at one time. But yeah, I just bought a whole bunch of these peaches, and we've been eating through them. The kids love to just come grab a peach off the counter and eat it. But yeah, that's what these are. You can literally use peaches in a can. I've done that before. Works just fine. Tastes delicious. And if you want to get a good deal on peaches, unless you are, setting your fruit out to look pretty, go to your local farmer's market or orchard and buy number 2 peaches, because that is where you're going to get the best deal. They can't sell them at a premium because they're ugly. For some reason, people are picky about ugly peaches. So go buy number 2 peaches. They taste just as good, and they have minor imperfections. Like literally, if they grow too close to the tree, what is that thing called? A tree limb, and they rub against the tree limb, they get this little weird brown rash on their skin. Doesn't change the way they taste. And now that I'm saying this, it makes me think that these are probably July Prince, because those were number 2s, and I was cutting some of the imperfections off of the skin. So I think that's what these are. But anyways, that's just some unsolicited fruit advice from me. I worked at an orchard for 7 years. As a child, I started working in an orchard. I just started cutting samples for people who came in And then, you know, like I slowly moved up the way and I was a peach sorter and a fruit picker and all the kinds of jobs you can have at the orchard. So anyways, I worked in an orchard for a long time, and so I am kind of passionate about fruit, most specifically peaches, because who doesn't love a good peach? All right, last up, I'm just making a breakfast casserole. I am not going to link this recipe down in the description because I literally just took stuff out of my fridge and made it. So I have 1 pound of browned deer sausage. And then I also have what was left of the zucchini. It was probably 2.5 cups. And then I had a couple of bell peppers that my kids had picked a little bit early, so I went ahead and diced those up. And then I just had some leftover white sauce from homemade pizzas. It's called bechamel sauce. It's just like cream and flour and butter. So I had a little bit of that left over and I just scraped that in. And then I added, we had a package of sliced pepper jack cheese. I went ahead and diced that up and threw it in. And then I also went ahead and added a little more shredded cheese. I literally just wanted to get stuff out of my refrigerator. And then I just added eggs until it looked right. Like, I don't know how many eggs I want to say I added like 18 eggs or something. Something slightly absurd. Anyways, so I just mixed that all together and then threw it in the oven to bake it to eat for breakfast in the coming week. Super simple. A breakfast casserole doesn't have to be difficult. You can literally just mix eggs and vegetables. If you got vegetables that are going bad, just about any vegetable you can put in a breakfast casserole. Some cheese, some kind of protein. I mean, eggs are protein, but like some kind of meat generally goes well. I made them, meat free, but like if you want it to just, those are the basic components: cheese, veggies, meat, eggs. That's pretty easy. And then, if you want to stretch your eggs a little bit further, maybe add some milk. But it's not required. So anyways, I just added all of that stuff to a bowl, mixed it together, threw it in a baking dish. I did use one of those aluminum foil pans just because I had it sitting out already, and it was dirty. And then I just threw that in the oven and baked it up. I think this is kind of a deeper casserole, so I think I baked it for like close to 2 hours because it was so deep. But yeah. All right, y'all, that is all I have for you this time. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, all of that good stuff. I hope you guys have an awesome week, and I'll catch you next time. Bye, y'all.